this before, the wrestling business eats its young, you know what I mean? So, of course, they can decide anything they wanted, but I had to go to a family a function that I could miss.
Right.
And I had...
It should be noted that Sullivan lives there. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily vacation.
Yeah.
His home is there. So, yeah. Okay. Now, it's also been said that you're at this point, we're in January, you're booking ahead to Starrcade now.
Right.
11 months in advance.
Right.
So some of the Russo stuff that wasn't liked so much was the on-the-fly stuff. So now are you showing that we're going to get back to the basics now, we're going to look long-term
Right.
and not short-term?
Correct.
And are the executives being put at ease
No.
by this?
No. Because now I got AOL and Brad Siegel getting involved. And they say it's just wrestling. You know, you can do it off the cuff. This Vinny did it off the cuff. My whole thing was to get Goldberg back healthy again. Because whether people realize it or not, the only person that ever mentions it is Terry Funk in his book, I Created Goldberg. And we've talked about this before, everybody forgets Goldberg did lose to Steve McMichaels. And I made sure they forgot about that. And we went through and we made him what he was, and he was a phenomenon. And I mean, he was not just a phenomenon in wrestling, he was a phenomenon around the country. Mark McGuire was rubbing his bat on him the year he's hitting the 70 home runs. But I needed that guy healthy again. I needed him to be Goldberg again. Mm-hmm. And I needed to start the streak again, you know. It's like Brady throwing the 3 interceptions and he hadn't thrown them. He just needs to start the streak.
Right. You're more forgiving when you've got a powerhouse like that, sure.
Yeah.
And are you planning the Goldberg Tank Abbott thing, or
No.
has the Abbott thing been discarded completely when Russo leaves?
I always thought Tank was good on the card, but he wasn't a wrestler. But we were looking at the time also, they had mentioned getting into business with the shoot fighting people. So we had a couple of Don Fry and a couple other guys come over. We were going to sign them. We were starting to do things with Pride in Japan. Mm-hmm. So Tank was for that in case that happened. I never saw Tank as a world champion. I never saw Tank anything than an upper middle card guy. You know, maybe knock a guy out once in a while. Mm-hmm. You know, he could put guys over, and then he wrestles someone that means something. He throws a haymaker, knocks the guy out, and boom, he's made again for another 6 weeks.
Right. But you're keeping him on ice
Yeah.
for when that shoot fighting deal is made.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I had just lost, like I said, the middle of the order, so Sid was the guy. Mm-hmm. So I had a caption audience, so I had to put Sid out there to wrestle. Mm-hmm. And Ron happened to be, at the time, he had been handled pretty good by Vinny, put in a good spot, so I used Ron because I was going to get something out of Ron, mm-hmm. and he's a good performer, mm-hmm. and he gives Sid a competitive match, and he fit good physically with Sid. And sometimes guys, it's like in football, some guys match up mm-hmm. well together. They give you a great match. Well, they gave me a good match. Mm-hmm.
Nash strips Sid of the world title because he pinned the wrong Harris twin on Nitro. Sid then beats Nash and Ron Harris in a steel cage to re-win the main event. What's the plan with Sid?
To get him ready for Goldberg.
Okay.
You know, animal against animal. I needed Sid to get hot. And I needed an opponent for Goldberg that Goldberg hadn't beaten. And we needed the streak to start. And he had beaten Hulk, Nash, Hall, you name it, but he had never beaten Sid. And we needed to go on from what the debacle had happened, to forget about it, for Sid become the monster down the line that will face Goldberg. That was it.
This is now the full-fledged return of Ric Flair in his program with Terry Funk. Talk to me about Flair, your dealings with him, your plans with him, bringing him back. How receptive is he to this, the whole thing?
Yeah, he was receptive. And the other thing about Rick, which is, we were kidding, he's still around. He draws. He's Ric Flair. Ric Flair and Terry Funk, you don't have to be a genius to write that one down. It's going to draw, it works. There are some things that work, Ric Flair and Steamboat work, Ric Flair and Terry Funk work, Dusty and Terry work. So I just put them together, and Rick was very receptive, and Terry's always been a big booster of mine, and they came to my aid.
Now, are any of the younger guys saying, because you had mentioned before some of the guys that were in support of Russo, now I'm a young guy in the car going, okay,
yeah,
Funk, Flair, Sullivan.
Of course they're saying that, but it's funny, those guys that are saying that are the old guys today that are still on top.
Right.
They're not letting the young kids get their shot.